Welcome back to the show. This is episode 3, and today's story is, honestly, one of the most disturbing stories we've ever told here. It's about marriage, trust, and a discovery that completely changes a woman's life. Our guest today is here to share what happened to her. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's still difficult to talk about, but I think it's important.
Take your time. Let's start from the beginning. When did you first realize something was wrong?
For a long time, I thought I knew my husband. We had been married for 5 years. For 3 of those years, we were trying to have a baby. I believed we were a team, fighting infertility together. But I was completely wrong.
What made you start questioning things?
It started on a random Tuesday in April. I was at home on medical leave after my 3rd miscarriage in 2 years.
3 miscarriages. That must have been devastating.
It was. Each pregnancy ended between the 6th and 8th week. 3 times I saw the tiny heartbeat on the ultrasound. And 3 times I went back to the doctor, only to hear there was no heartbeat anymore.
That's heartbreaking.
That day, I was organizing our financial documents for taxes, just something simple to keep my mind busy. And then I found something strange.
What was it?
An insurance policy I had never seen before.
Insurance?
Yes, a life insurance policy, but not for us. It was pregnancy insurance.
Pregnancy insurance? What does that mean?
It paid 20,000 reals if there was a fetal loss after the 6th week of pregnancy. Wait, what? Exactly. My stomach dropped when I read it. Rodrigo, my husband, had taken out this policy without ever telling me. That already sounds suspicious. I kept looking through the papers, and then I found the payment receipts. Receipts? 3 deposits. 20,000 reals each. After each miscarriage? Yes, 60,000 reals total. Rodrigo had received 60,000 reals after our babies died, and he never told me. That's unbelievable. While I was crying, blaming my own body, spending money on treatments, he was collecting money from our tragedies. What did you do when you discovered that? I just sat on the floor of the office holding those papers. I kept trying to find an innocent explanation. Like what? Maybe he wanted financial protection. Maybe he didn't want to worry me with money while I was grieving. But there was one question I couldn't answer. Which one? Why would he hide it? Did you confront him immediately? No. When Rodrigo came home from work that evening, I pretended everything was normal. I put the documents back in the drawer and prepared dinner like I always did. That must have been incredibly hard. It was. During dinner, I watched every expression on his face. I was looking for guilt, nervousness, something.
Did you see anything unusual?
No, that was the terrifying part. He acted completely normal. He talked about work, complained about traffic, asked how I was feeling.
Did you try to bring up the topic somehow?
Yes, carefully. I asked him, "Rodrigo, have you ever thought about getting life insurance for us?" And what did he say? He chewed his food slowly and said, "Why? Are you worried about something?"
That sounds very calculated.
I said no. I just thought maybe it would be smart to have some financial protection after everything we'd been through. And he replied, "We already have health insurance, and I have insurance from work. That's enough."
So he lied.
Yes, he lied directly to my face. The man who had comforted me after every miscarriage, who cried with me, who said we would keep trying as many times as necessary, was lying about making money from our losses.
That realization must have been terrifying.
That night, I pretended to fall asleep. Around midnight, Rodrigo got up to go to the bathroom. When he came back, he whispered my name to see if I was awake.
What did you do?
I stayed completely still, breathing slowly. Then he grabbed his phone and went to the living room.
And you followed him?
After a few minutes, yes, I walked quietly down the hallway. Rodrigo was sitting on the couch texting someone on WhatsApp.
Were you able to see the conversation?
Yes, the contact name was Dr. Silva.
A doctor?
That's what I thought at first. I leaned a little closer and read the last messages. The first message said, "Is she suspicious about anything?"
That already sounds bad.
Rodrigo replied, "No, she still thinks it's just bad luck. Yesterday, she cried saying maybe her body just can't have children."
That's cruel.
And then the other person replied, "Perfect. The next dose needs to be smaller. 3 losses in a row is starting to attract attention."
Wait, dose?
Yes. Then Rodrigo asked, "How long should we wait?" And the answer was, "Let her get pregnant again. Keep the pregnancy longer this time before acting. 10, maybe 12 weeks. Then we apply the protocol again." Oh my God. My legs almost collapsed. I had to hold onto the wall to keep from fainting.
Because you realized what they were talking about.
Yes, dose, protocol. Rodrigo wasn't just hiding insurance money, he was causing the miscarriages on purpose. And someone was helping him do it. I can't even imagine what was going through your mind at that moment. Honestly, I think my brain refused to process it at first. I kept telling myself I must have misunderstood the messages. Maybe they were talking about something else.
But deep down, you knew.
Yes, because the words matched my worst fear. Dose, protocol, let her get pregnant again. It sounded like a medical plan.
What did you do next?
I quietly went back to the bedroom before he noticed me. I lay down and pretended to be asleep again.
That must have been terrifying, lying next to someone you suddenly didn't trust.
It was the longest night of my life. Every movement he made in the bed felt threatening. My mind kept replaying the miscarriages, trying to remember if anything strange had happened.
Did anything come back to you?
Yes, something that had always seemed like a loving gesture.
What was it?
Rodrigo used to make me herbal tea almost every night during my pregnancies.
Tea?
He said it helped reduce stress and improve sleep. He always insisted on preparing it himself.
Did a doctor recommend that tea?
No. I asked him once where he learned about it, and he said his grandmother used similar herbs during pregnancy.
That must look very suspicious now. Exactly. I suddenly remembered that before every miscarriage, I had felt strong stomach cramps a few hours after drinking that tea. That's horrifying. At the time, I thought it was just part of pregnancy complications. But now, it felt like a pattern. Did you confront him the next morning? No. I knew that if he suspected anything, he would erase the evidence. I needed proof first.
So you started investigating?
Yes. The next morning, he left for work like usual.
And you searched the house?
Everywhere. I went through his office, his drawers, his laptop, even his car.
Did you find anything?
At first, nothing. But then I remembered the contact name on his phone. Dr. Silva. Exactly. I opened our shared laptop and searched Rodrigo's email for that name. And I found dozens of emails. What were they about? They weren't medical consultations like I expected. They were invoices. Invoices. Yes. Payments labeled as consulting services. Each one for 5,000 reais. How many were there? 12. 60,000 reais again. Exactly the same amount he received from the insurance payouts. So he was splitting the money. That's what it looked like. Did you find out who Dr. Silva really was? Yes, but it wasn't what I expected. Tell us. I searched the email signature online. The person was not a medical doctor. Then who was it? A pharmacist who had previously lost his professional license. Why? Illegal distribution of prescription drugs. That's extremely serious. Yes. And suddenly, the word dose made even more sense. So you believed he was providing something Rodrigo used on you? That's what it looked like. But I still didn't know exactly how. Until you found something else. Yes, in the kitchen cabinet. The same place where the tea ingredients were kept? Exactly. Behind the tea containers, there was a small plastic bag hidden in the back. What was inside? Capsules. Small, white capsules without any label. Did you recognize them? No. But there was a folded piece of paper in the bag. What did it say? Just 2 handwritten words. Week 7. Week 7. The exact week when every miscarriage happened. That's chilling. My hands started shaking so badly I almost dropped the bag. At that moment, I knew one thing for sure. What was that? If I stayed in that house, I might not survive the next pregnancy. So you decided to leave? Not immediately. I realized something important. What? Rodrigo thought I was completely unaware, which meant I had an advantage. You could gather more evidence. Exactly. So I put the capsules back exactly where I found them and acted normal again. Yes. That evening when Rodrigo came home, he kissed me on the forehead and asked how I was feeling. After everything you had discovered, that must have felt unreal. It did. But the worst moment came a few minutes later. What happened? He walked into the kitchen, opened the cabinet, and took out the tea jar.
The same tea?
Yes. Then he smiled at me and said the words that still haunt me today.
What did he say?
You look stressed today. Let me make you some tea.
That must have been an incredibly tense moment.
It was. My heart started racing the second he said it, because now I knew exactly what that tea might contain.
Did you drink it?
I had to pretend I would. If I suddenly refused, he might become suspicious.
So what did you do?
I sat at the kitchen table while he prepared it. I watched every movement. Did he add anything unusual? At first, no. He boiled the water, added the herbs, stirred the cup. Then he said he forgot something and went back to the cabinet. The cabinet where you found the capsules. Exactly. My stomach turned when I saw him open that door. His back was facing me, so I couldn't see his hands clearly. But you suspected what he was doing. Yes. When he came back, he placed the cup in front of me and smiled. What did you do? I picked up the cup, but instead of drinking it immediately, I said the tea was too hot. Buying time. Exactly. I pretended to blow on the tea while thinking of a plan. And I suddenly said I needed to use the bathroom. Did he question that? No, he just nodded. I took the cup with me. Why? I told him I wanted to keep it warm and drink it while relaxing in the bath. Smart. Once inside the bathroom, I locked the door. My hands were shaking. What did you do with the tea? I poured most of it into the sink, but I kept a small amount in the cup. Why keep some? Evidence. I poured it into a small empty bottle for my makeup bag. That was quick thinking. I knew I might need proof later. Then you returned to the kitchen? Yes. I came back carrying the cup with a little tea still inside. Did he ask if you liked it? He did. He asked, "Did you drink it all?" That question must have sent chills down your spine. It did. But I smiled and said yes. It helped me relax. And he believed you? Completely. He looked satisfied. That's disturbing. Later that night, after he fell asleep, I started planning my next steps. What was your plan? First, I needed to know what was in that tea. So you had it tested? Yes. The next morning, I told Rodrigo I had a doctor's appointment. But you went somewhere else. I went to a private laboratory. Were they able to analyze the sample? Yes, but they told me the results would take 2 days. That must have been a stressful wait. The longest 2 days of my life. During that time, I acted completely normal at home. Did Rodrigo try to give you tea again? Twice. Both times I pretended I had already taken medication and couldn't mix it with herbs. Good excuse. Finally, the lab called me. And what did they say? The technician sounded very serious. He asked if I could come in person to discuss the results. That's never a good sign. No. When I arrived, he showed me the report.
What did it reveal? The tea contained a substance called misoprostol.
That's a medication used in hospitals.
Yes, it can be used medically in controlled situations, but in pregnancy, it can cause powerful uterine contractions.
Meaning it can induce miscarriage.
Exactly. The technician told me the concentration in the sample was very high. So there was no doubt. None. Someone had deliberately added it. How did you react when you heard that? I felt like the ground disappeared under my feet. The man I trusted most in the world had been poisoning me and causing the miscarriages. Yes, 3 times. At that point, did you go to the police? Not immediately. Why not? Because when I returned home that afternoon, something happened that changed everything. What was it? Rodrigo was waiting for me in the living room. Waiting? Yes. He looked nervous. Did he say anything? He asked a question that made my blood run cold. What did he ask? He said, "Why did you go to the laboratory this morning?" Wait, how did he know you went to a laboratory? That was my first thought too. My heart started pounding so loudly, I was afraid he could hear it. Did you deny it? I tried to stay calm. I asked him, "What laboratory?" And what did he say? He held up his phone and showed me something. What was it? A notification from our bank. The payment? Yes, I had paid the laboratory with our joint account. So he received an alert. Exactly. The notification showed the lab's name. That must have been a terrifying moment. It was, but I forced myself to smile. What did you tell him? I said my doctor had asked for some blood tests. Did he believe you? He stared at me for a few seconds. Those seconds felt like hours. And then, finally, he nodded. He said, "That makes sense. After everything we've been through, it's good to check your health." That must have felt strange to hear. Very strange. Especially knowing what I now knew. Did he act normal after that? For the rest of the evening, yes. But something had changed. In what way? He was watching me more carefully, like he was trying to read my thoughts. That sounds very uncomfortable. It was. It was that night that I barely slept. Were you afraid he might try something again? Yes. Yes. But I was also thinking about what to do next. You had proof now. Exactly. The insurance documents, the emails with the pharmacist, the capsules in the cabinet, and the laboratory report. That's a lot of evidence. But I knew something important. What was that? If I went to the police without preparing carefully, Rodrigo might destroy the rest of the evidence. So you needed a plan. Yes. The next morning, I called someone I trusted. Who? My older sister. Did she believe you? At first, she was in shock. But when I showed her the laboratory report, she immediately said we needed to contact a lawyer. That sounds like a smart step. The lawyer listened to everything. Then he said something that surprised me.
What did he say?
He said, "You already have strong evidence, but if we want to guarantee a conviction, we need one more thing."
What was missing?
A recording.
A confession.
Exactly. The lawyer suggested that I secretly record a conversation with Rodrigo.
That sounds risky.
Very risky. But it might be the only way to prove his intention.
Did you agree?
After thinking about it for a long time, yes.
What was the plan?
I would confront him indirectly. I would pretend I had discovered the insurance policy, but nothing else.
To see how he reacted?
Exactly. The lawyer gave me a small audio recorder.
When did you decide to do it?
2 days later.
What happened?
That evening, I told Rodrigo we needed to talk.
Where were you?
In the living room. I placed the recorder in my pocket and turned it on.
Were you nervous?
Terrified. My hands were sweating so much I thought I might drop it.
What did you say to him?
I told him I had found the insurance documents while organizing the finances. How did he react? At first, he froze. Completely? Yes. For a moment, his face lost all color. That's a strong reaction. Then he forced a laugh.
What did he say?
He said it was just financial protection in case something bad happened during pregnancy.
Did you challenge that explanation?
Yes. I asked him why he never told me about it. And he said he didn't want to upset me.
That sounds like an excuse.
Exactly. Then I asked him another question.
Which one?
I said, Rodrigo, did you receive money after each miscarriage? That's a direct question. Yes. His smile disappeared instantly.
What happened next?
He leaned forward slowly and looked straight into my eyes.
That must have been intense.
It was. And then he said something I will never forget.
What did he say?
He said, "You weren't supposed to find out about that."
When he said that, what did you feel in that moment?
A strange mix of fear and clarity, because with that one sentence, he confirmed everything. "You had the recorder running." Yes. My heart was beating so fast, I was afraid the microphone would pick it up.
What did you say next?
I asked him the question that had been haunting me for weeks.
Which one?
I said, Rodrigo, did you know the insurance paid money after each miscarriage?
And what did he answer?
At first, he didn't speak. He just stared at the floor.
That silence must have felt endless.
It did. Then he sighed and rubbed his face.
What did he say?
He said, "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." That's a strange way to respond. Exactly. I asked him what he meant, and he said the first miscarriage had been an accident. An accident. That's what he called it. According to him, the pharmacist's friend had given him medication that could help manage pregnancy complications. But that wasn't the truth. No. He admitted he put a small dose in my tea during the first pregnancy.
Why? Because he was afraid of becoming a father. That's unbelievable. But after the miscarriage happened, the insurance paid. And that changed everything. Yes. He said when he saw the money arrive, he realized how easy it was. That's horrifying. Then he contacted the pharmacist again. To repeat it? Exactly. He admitted they planned the next 2 miscarriages together. All for the insurance payouts? Yes. 60,000 reais. While you believed you were struggling with infertility, while I blamed my own body. That must have been devastating to hear. It was. But I needed him to keep talking. For the recording. Yes. So I asked him another question. What did you ask? Were you planning to do it again? And what did he say? He nodded. Calmly. Calmly? Yes. He said the insurance policy allowed several claims. That's chilling. Then he said something that made my stomach turn. What was it? He said, we just needed to wait longer next time. Longer? He explained that if the pregnancy lasted until 12 weeks, the payout would be even bigger. That's monstrous. I felt sick hearing it. What happened after that? I told him I needed some air and walked outside. Did he try to stop you? No. He thought I was just overwhelmed. But you already had what you needed. Yes. The entire confession was recorded. What did you do next? I drove straight to my sister's house. The next morning, we went to the police with the lawyer. And you gave them everything? The insurance documents, the emails, the laboratory report, and the audio recording. How did the authorities react? They opened an investigation immediately. Was Rodrigo arrested? Yes. 2 weeks later. What about the pharmacist? He was arrested too. Do you know what charges they faced? Attempted homicide, fraud, and illegal distribution of controlled medication. Very serious crimes. Yes. The trial took almost a year. And the result? Rodrigo was sentenced to prison. How long? 12 years. And the pharmacist? 10 years. After everything you went through, how are you doing now?
It took a long time to rebuild my life. Therapy helped a lot.
I can imagine. But there is one positive thing that came out of this story. What's that? A few years later, I became pregnant again. That must have been emotional.
Very. I was terrified during the entire pregnancy. Understandably. But this time, everything was normal.
And the baby?
A healthy little girl.
That's wonderful.
She's 3 years old now.
After everything you experienced, that must feel like a miracle.
It does. And every time I look at her, I remember why it was important to speak up and tell the truth.
Thank you for sharing such a powerful story with us.
Thank you for giving me the chance to tell it.
And to everyone listening, if something in your life doesn't feel right, trust your instincts. Sometimes the truth is terrifying, but facing it can save your life. We'll see you in the next episode.